Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all well. It is the third time that I'm sitting down to film this video because I just really feel like I have a message that I really want to get across, but for some reason I just can't really seem to just be able to sit down and relax and not have a broken SD card and charge my battery and all those things. So it is the third time that I'm going to try this, and I'm losing daylight a little bit, but I'm just going to film it anyway. I do really like the new setup I kind of have going on here. I think it looks really cute. So we're just going to try this. Right now it is the 6th week of quarantine, and last week was a really rough week for me. I think it was the first week that I was actually having a really hard time while we've been on lockdown now. And I just really wanted to make this video to kind of update you guys of how I've been doing, but mostly to reach out to anybody who might be feeling the same. So I have to say that after I made a couple of YouTube videos, I really felt really inspired, and I had this whole list of videos that I wanted to film. And then I don't know, I just kind of lost it a little bit. I think it started creeping in for a couple of days. Like I really noticed how I was just not really motivated and just not really feeling it like anymore. I really remember getting to a point where I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this whole situation, and I bet that there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way and just miss old life. Even though I said this in my past video as well, like I'm very grateful to be in a safe place where I can isolate. You know, in that skill I don't really have big things to complain about, but I do think that for me and for a lot of other people that have struggled with mental health in the past or still have mental health issues right now, this whole situation can be incredibly triggering. And so for 4 weeks I thought I was actually doing really okay, and then I had a really rough week. For the first time in I think months, I had really strong physical anxiety attacks and constant pain in my chest, the fear of dying, not being able to sleep. Like it was actually really bad, and at one point so bad that I went to the hospital in the evening just because I think it was like the middle of the night, and I just literally felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was like so clammy. And even though I felt relatively not panicked, like, or just like I felt pretty calm, my whole body was just so tense and it made me like really nauseous. So it was a pretty rough week, and that always kind of fucks with my mind as well, because I feel like anyone who's had any type of issues that resemble mine will probably recognize the feeling that sometimes you're doing really well for a really long time, and then it's so incredibly frustrating when you feel like you're just kind of falling back into behavior or moods that you thought you were kind of done with, at least for a while. Not in the moment, but when the anxiety attack has passed, I can sort of rationalize what's going on, like, you know, like, and tell myself that this is exactly like a very understandable time for anxiety to be triggered. And I really wanted to make this video for anyone out there who feels like, why am I suddenly so bad again? I was doing really well. Why is my depression triggered, my anxiety triggered, or anything like that? Just know that during a world pandemic, it's not weird at all that if you've been sitting inside for 4 weeks and your whole life is basically super different from what you're used to, that it's actually really normal that this is going to start coming up. But that does not make it easier at all. So having said that, and just admitting that I've had a really rough week, I really wanted to share with you guys the things I've been doing to kind of get out of this. And I don't want to make it seem like this is really easy, because it's very different for everybody, and also the things I do for myself won't necessarily also work for you. But I do think these are some things that in general will make you feel a lot more grounded and are just good things to do while we're being locked in the house and everything is just a bit strange. So one of the things that I acknowledge for myself is that before this whole pandemic, I was being really active. Like in my work, I walk a lot, like all the time, and I cycle to and back from work. And on my days off, I try to be outside, but I would also go to the gym about 4 times a week. So I was just being really active, which is very, very, very helpful for my anxiety. Honestly, especially being in a gym and just having a designated area where you can just focus on one thing and just completely turn off your brain is, at least for me, very helpful. And it's not weird at all that my body is missing that right now. Even though I do try and go for walks and do home workouts and yoga whenever I feel like it, I will never get as much physical activity as I did when I was working and going to the gym and just being outside a lot more. And it's really good to acknowledge that, especially if you suffer with depression or anxiety, this being inside all the time and sitting still all the time can build up a lot of tension in your body. So one thing I've been really trying to do is just move. Like, this doesn't have to be a crazy workout or something that seems like way too big of a step, because especially if you're not feeling well, like I don't feel like doing a workout if I can barely get out of bed. So what I've been trying to do is just do some very mild forms of yoga. Take some time to just stretch your body and just keep it moving. Like, even if this is because you're changing the bed sheets, cleaning the apartment, like sorting out your closet, do something very simple and mindful that makes you move your body and kind of be very present in your body. Because I feel like if you're in your body and being physical, you're a lot less stuck in your head, at least for me. So that is one thing that's been really helping for me. Apart from that, I've also really noticed how much that week, or kind of like towards the 3rd week of the quarantine, I was really watching so much YouTube videos, scrolling to Instagram so much, and basically just being attached to my laptop or my phone half the time, because it's just a very easy way to get entertainment from, even though it's a very like passive way of entertainment. And of course I love watching YouTube videos, but what can be even nicer is to make things, or just to have any active form of creating or of entertaining yourself. So I've been really strict for myself this week and just written down some ground rules for being a bit more present. So I'm trying to not watch Netflix or YouTube like continuously. I give myself about an hour or 2 in the evening to kind of unwind, and if I want, just like look up some YouTube videos, some inspiration. But overall, I'm really trying to not be on my phone, not scroll to Instagram, and not check my phone an hour after I wake up. This is for me something that's very important for my anxiety, is that when my head is really full of thoughts, even though I think it helps to watch YouTube videos and Netflix to kind of relax and take my mind off things, it can actually be very triggering to constantly see social media or things online that you're going to compare yourself with, or if you're already in a negative state of mind, it might just really actually feed into those negative thoughts to see certain things. So what I like to do is just really create a bit more space in my head by not doing these things, and just kind of sit with my own thoughts for a little bit. I think these 2 things are actually the main things I've been doing. So in any form or way, try to be a little bit more present and just not feed into your already really busy head. And in another way, try and sort of relieve your body from this tension by just moving it or doing small chores. Like, I know sometimes going for a run or doing an actual workout can be like way too big of a step, and if you have ever struggled with depression or pressing anxiety that literally feels like you can't do anything because you're just sitting there stuck in that whole feeling, I really understand that going for a run or doing all these things that everybody seems to be doing can be very like triggering, but it can also feel like I want to go do that because I know it's good for me, but I just can't. So try and take it way back and just take small steps to get back into it. And small things you can do is putting your phone on plane mode and just not have so much stimulation. And I'm only saying this because for some people it might be really relaxing to just binge for a whole day or a couple of days, and that really works for you. But for anybody who has a really active mind and feels like they can get really stuck in the sort of with their thoughts, and that really starts their anxiety, I know that it can be really nice to just do things to give yourself some sort of focus on something else. For me, it's just easier to focus on things that I am actively doing than to focus on something that I'm just watching, because a lot of the times I will be watching something to kind of relax, and I notice that I completely zone out and I'm just processing all these things in my own head while something on Netflix is playing, which is not really relaxing. It can also be kind of like an overload of sort of input from everywhere. So yeah, conclusively to this video, I kind of hope it made a little bit of sense. As I said, I tried to film this 3 times, and for some reason I just really couldn't sit down and properly get my message across. And I think it's because it's a very big subject and it can be a bit of a heavy subject, but it's also such a personal subject. Like, everybody deals with their mental health in a very different way. But I do think that after 2 years of therapy, there is a lot of things that I've learned to do for myself that always kind of ground me again. And that is something I'm incredibly grateful for, just having a bit of insight in my own behavior and what works for me. And as I was saying, that is very personal, but I really hope that someone out there at least knows that if you are going through a rough week or past couple of weeks, that you're definitely not alone. I feel like a lot of people feel a lot of pressure to do things right now because everybody's like, oh well, might as well work out at home every day and like read a book and like write a book or something. And it's just really, it's really a lot. At least for me, I feel like it's a lot of pressure, and of course that's mostly coming from within ourselves. But yeah, just know that that is nice if that makes you happy to do that some days. Like, I've really been enjoying making a video and feeling like I'm doing something creative and productive, but I've also really enjoyed just having some peace of mind. And honestly, I don't think anything can top just the feeling of feeling rest in your body and feeling like you're not have to compare yourself or the things you're doing to other people. So I hope you guys all hang in there and enjoyed this video. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to my channel because that will really help me a lot. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.